Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Lightfall Season of the Wish intel. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you through this week's GM Nightfall, which is the Birthplace of the Vial. Not the easiest one to get done, certainly not my favorite, but there is a major glitch for the boss room and a bunch of cheeses and tricks that you're going to want to know throughout the entirety of this strike in order to get this done on the GM difficulty, or if you're trying to attempt this as a solo player on any difficulty. All of these tips are going to come in handy. Some of them, of course, will play more into doing it with a group, and some of them actually more into being a specific solo player. The burns for this week are Solar and Strand, and if you can complete this particular Nightfall, you will earn yourself the Loaded Question Fusion Rifle, and of course, if you can get this done at the GM difficulty, you will earn yourself an Adept version of the Loaded Question. A few good rolls on that. This was the build that I was running for this week. Actually seemed to work out really well, especially when I did this in a group with another Warlock who was running Solar and a Hunter that was running Void. Shout out to Sinister, shout out to Mason, and shout out to Bert. Even though we weren't able to get a run done, we still made pretty good progress and was able to test out a few things. So thanks to all of them. And now on to the actual run. For the very first champion, you don't actually have to kill them. You can actually skip this champion and still get a platinum score, which is going to be vital if you want to assure yourself the Adept version of the Loaded Question at the GM difficulty, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, as it's only making sure that you kill all the champions. You still have a fairly good chance of getting the Loaded Question regardless if you do get a GM completion, but you might as well guarantee it and secure a platinum score. Kill that first champion, as there might be at least one later on that you either forget about or possibly have to skip, and you can still get a platinum score so long as you complete all the champions except for one. You get the reprieve on one champion. Once you're across the bridge and you have to fight this little mini boss, the best thing to do if you do have a Hunter with tether, or you are running this as a solo Hunter with tether, is just tether this area and use your supers if you have to. Just clear it out quickly. You don't want to get caught on this spot, and you will get your supers back. And once you head up the stairs to the first platform, there are two strategies that you can use. If you are solo on a Hunter, you can just continually go invis and stay on the middle platform. That will speed up this whole process. As you see, it makes this whole thing go through in about a minute and a half, I think. We were giving our teammate Sinister cover in this case, but he probably could have done it by himself so long as he was able to keep his invis up. The other option is to stay all the way back by the stairs and just clear out the waves of ads as they come in. Now, this is probably the best possible solo method if you are doing this as a solo class, anything other than the Hunter. So if you're on a Warlock, this might be the only area that you can hold out if you are trying to do this solo. Once you get outside to the second bridge and you take out the enemies that are going to be spawning and running out onto the bridge, there's actually a really great trick for this whole next section, as it's actually one of the more difficult areas. Because of the way you're entering, you're going to be facing all the enemies that are spawned inside the room, a couple of champions as well. And it's really difficult as you have really no room to maneuver, and all of your teammates, if you are doing this in a group or as a solo player, you're going to be facing them in one big wave. However, if you jump around to the right, and this can be done on all three classes, you have this entire right balcony to play with, and it allows you to not only get a better vantage point on all the enemies inside, but you're also going to be closer to them. So you kind of get the jump on the enemies versus having to face them all in one big wave like you normally would. This is probably one of the most useful little tricks to know, and it's one of the easiest to do. So make sure that you use this strategy no matter what difficulty you're using or playing this on. You're going to want to use a similar strategy to the first plate on the second and third plates. Once you've taken out the two unstoppable champions, which are fairly easy so long as you stay at the top of the stairs, I would recommend going to the right plate first. And again, if you are a solo player, suggest doing this on a hunter. This is going to be another place where invis comes in really handy and will make this whole section go a lot quicker. If you are doing this in a group and you have a hunter with you, I would suggest have them stay on the plate, give them as much cover as they need, and stay to the back behind the statue. The next plate is even easier. Again, use the same strategy if you do have a hunter or if you are a hunter. The other teammates can just stay up on this balcony to the left of the actual plate. None of the enemies are going to be spawning over here. You have a really good vantage point on all the ones that are spawning in beneath you. You can give good cover to the hunter. The third bridge can be another annoying area, but just stay up on top and make sure that you take out the mini boss first. Use a tether if you need. Use your supers here also, because you're going to be getting them back again before you face another section that's going to be really difficult, or you're going to face a big wave of ads like this. There are the unstoppable champions at the bottom, but you should be able to take out all the ads first before you really have
Now
to focus
on to the actual
them. Boss room glitch. Now, there's a couple of things you're going to want to know about this before attempting. One, it's much easier to do on a warlock, and two, it's much easier to do at the beginning of the actual boss encounter. Now, the unfortunate thing about this glitch is you do get teleported in between each damage phase of the boss, and regardless if you're out of bounds, which is what we're going to be doing, you still get teleported. So in order to use this in every single damage phase, you would need to become proficient at this particular jumping puzzle in order to make sure that you don't actually get killed in the air while attempting it. So the way you do this is you would jump on top of this statue or any of the statues in this room, so long as you can make your way to this back wall where you'll see this main statue. And then there's an invisible barrier that you can jump over. You'll get adjoining allies and drop down behind the wall. And you're fairly safe so long as you stay in this area. Now, a couple of things. If you are doing this in a group, obviously you're leaving your teammates out to defend themselves without your help. So that's a disadvantage if you are doing this in a group. However, if you are doing it as a solo player, this might be the only option that you have in this room, as there is a ton of enemies, and the totems for the boss, preventing the boss from taking damage, are going to be the really difficult parts. Remember that if you can get through this room and you all get teleported, it also teleports your teammates' ghosts. So if you do get caught in a two-men down situation, you can't get the revives, this might be an option, or just a way to prevent that one player from dying, so that when you do get teleported, you can actually revive them. Another option that you could do for this particular room, if you decide to use this, is to actually have the ghosts of either one or both of your teammates die in the middle of the room. That actually draws a lot of the aggro to that particular spot, and it's actually easy to just burn down the boss slowly from back here. Again, so long as this is the intended method, or if you're just getting caught out, or if you're doing this as a solo player. If you are completely solo, meaning you've done this from the start as a solo player, the boss will probably come right up to the invisible barrier in front of you. So just another important thing to note. They can hit you back here if you draw too much attention to yourself, which is why I would suggest really only a hunter or maybe a warlock with a lot of healing use this option. The normal method I would use is simply to make sure that those totems are always down, as they're going to be a major problem in taking out all the unstoppable and overload champions that are going to be spawning in this room. I can't remember if it's overload or unstop. It might be overload, but in any case, those are going to be healing the boss as well as themselves, and if you can't burn down the enemies in this room fast enough, that's really going to be where you run into trouble. Other than that, the boss is actually sort of easy so long as you stay around these boxes and just kind of continually rotate around the room. Even as a solo player, again, if you could use invis, that's going to be a huge advantage. Make sure you take out as many ads as possible, and there's a few areas that you can kind of hide out on against this right side, I would say, so long as you're up against the wall. But again, making sure that you're taking out these waves of enemies that spawn in to prevent too many totems from spawning, as the boss will usually spawn one every few seconds. Sometimes another one gets spawned in it becomes a real issue. It's probably the biggest thing to prioritize in this room if you're doing this without the glitch, or if you're doing this in a glitch run and you have that one player outside the map and you're one of the other two teammates inside still trying to do damage to the boss, and you're just trying to keep that one player alive. But hopefully all these tips put together will help you get a completion and an adept version of the loaded question. There's some great rolls on it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on the bell to post notifications so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 Lightfall content like this. Remember, you can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be linked in the description box down below. As I said before, any of those enter you into any future giveaways on this YouTube channel, and we do one every 1,000 subscribers, so you never want to miss out. And of course, when we reach 100,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away an Xbox Series X or a video card of equivalent value. Good luck farming this week. Thanks so much for watching, as always. And of course, I am Wilhelm Scream. We will see you next time. Little